Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Adrian Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by iPod expert Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
I have owned every iPod ever made. Actually, that's a fact.
Have you really? Every single, even the one that was...
Yeah, well, no, except the second gen one was the one that was just like the first gen, but it had more capacity.
How about the one that connected to just Apple devices?
What do you mean?
Remember the first iPhone, iPod? Did I say?
Oh, yeah, no, I had the first one. Yeah.
And you connected it to the Mac because it only worked on a Mac.
Actually, Apple gave me that device, if you can believe that.
Really? Huh.
Yep.
Different times.
Yeah, things have evolved.
Things have totally changed. This is a show where we talk about technology. You know, it's not necessarily tech news. It's just two guys sitting at a bar talking about tech, and that's actually.
Hey, so let's talk about the tech news then, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about tech news.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's not what we do.
No, that is not what we do. Sometimes there's news. I mean, it's just like, hey, did you see what happened? And it's like two drunks by the end of the thing. We're talking about how we want to, use Linux.
I've been mainlining coffee all day, so it's going to be like kind of the opposite of that today. But
yeah, lots happening. It slows down in the summer. A lot of the stuff starts slowing down, and I like to take.
Well,
yeah,
I know what you're saying.
You know
in other words, from the perspective of, I don't know, hard news, it's been a slow week. But man, I'm telling you, since the week I was in DC last week, and so it's only Tuesday, and this week so far, and of course, these are the weeks leading up to me going away. So it's like I need to get stuff done. I got to clean my office. We got to get the house ready. And I have been incredibly busy. Incredibly busy.
You know how I know it's starting to slow down? My inbox is empty. Like I'm getting no emails. The only email that I get is from Open Table telling me not to miss a $38 dinner special somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
right.
And normally, like if it's before, let's say before July 4th, the second you send an email, like we sent out a bunch of contracts for the ads for the new, the fall. I have not gotten anything back yet. And this was 2 days ago. Friday, actually, I sent them out. So I know I'll probably get them like in a week. Because everybody's like kind of slowing down and was getting out of the office early. Everybody's enjoying the summer.
Sure.
So everybody's like kind of like in this, it's like working in like a tub of molasses. That's what it's like.
It better be the case in August because I need to relax. I need it to be slow.
How does your schedule change? Because you're constantly writing.
Go away?
Yeah, like, well, it's two parts. Paul, a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you do when the news slows down? Like, I know that you could kind of predict based on patterns, but what do you do when it's like, holy crap,
I always
it's 3
have
weeks.
something to write. Almost always. So, for example, I do a lot of article series, right? So I had a number of articles that were queued up, that are still queued up, I should say, for yesterday originally, for today then, and because it's gotten busy for tomorrow and going forward. And so right now they're on my desktop. I also keep them in a folder in OneDrive. But for example, some of the articles I have not written and that I will write when I have the time, when other stuff isn't happening. I want to write a series of travel tech articles. One of them will be about that portable router that I got, which I think is excellent. I want to do, when I get to Europe, I'm going to do a related one about internet access in Europe and what the options are there. I've got a series of articles to write about the updates that are coming in Lumia Cyan, which is the firmware update that ships alongside Windows Phone 8.1. And so there's updates to apps like Creative Studio, which are actually really cool. Living Images is a feature of the camera that only works in some phones. And there's a whole list of that stuff. And so those are the ones I can see right now on my desktop. And then I have some more, out in OneDrive. But those, I kind of stack those things up. And so every day I can kind of go. And if in the morning there are things that happen and things that happen throughout the day, I write about that stuff first because it's kind of newsy or
like
whatever.
I kind of, based on like me knowing you, I know the things that you're really interested in. I know the things that you don't really care about.
Yeah.
And it kind of like it has to be tedious when like the news.
Some of it's tedious. Well, here's an example. All right, so about a little over a year ago, Microsoft started doing this games with gold thing for Xbox, and I think this is cool that they do it. I think people who are kind of cynical will say, well, PlayStation's been giving away games for whatever. So last June or whenever they started doing that, June, July, I decided, every month I'll write like a little post about it and I'll detail what the games are. And if I don't review a lot of these games anymore, so I haven't really reviewed much of them. So I can point to other reviews and say, like, this is the story. It used to cost this much. It's free. It's cool, whatever. 6-7 months into this, it's like, this is really boring. And then This year they started doing the Xbox One games, and that's kind of interesting. And so there's been a couple months now where we've gotten like a free game or maybe 2 free games on Xbox One. And so my interest is a little piqued, but like I just got the list of stuff that's coming for next month. Have I closed it yet? No, I still haven't gotten rid of this. This is a potential, like August 1st is like a couple of days away, so I still have time. I don't have to write it right now, but it's like one game for Xbox One, and it's like Crimson Dragon, and it's like it's just kind of boring. Like it's not interesting to write about. I feel sort of obligated to kind of put a post up because I've been doing it, and because some people care, they want to know. The Xbox 360 games, frankly, are always better because there are more of them, to choose from. But I look at that with a certain sense of dread. It's like, oh, I got to write 500 words about nothing here.
I mean, the best is when it's like the week of Windows 8 and Windows Phone 8 and a new device, and it seems like
I have
everything hits at once.
I'm sorry, I thought you were going in a different direction there. So so obviously sometimes there are big days or weeks where stuff happens, and then some little group at Microsoft, like maybe not even a little group, but some other group at Microsoft, let's say in my case, or some other thing will happen. And I've actually written people and said, seriously, you're going to announce this thing today? Like Windows 8.1 Update 1 just came out, and you've chosen this day for your little office add-in, whatever it is. And it's like, come on, guys, you got to be a little smarter about this stuff. But I mean, that's, it's there are busy days, like news-wise. I mean, I can tell you, just looking at today, for example, I wrote stories about Xbox Video, OneNote on iOS and Mac, and Windows Phone device usage stats, which were all based on stuff that just happened today. I didn't know they were happening. Well, I got the OneNote thing ahead, but it was a news thing from today. And then I have other articles that I wrote that were prepped in advance.
So how ahead of time do you prep these? Like, do you write the articles and you're like, okay, I can sit on this for a month, or like what's?
No, I never sit on anything once it's written, but I don't always complete them. And so what I will often do is start things and then kind of leave them sitting there unfinished. And so I'd written a big article, or part of a big article about how much Windows Phone has changed since the initial release, since they announced it. And in fact, I will in fact still write something like this, but I needed an editorial this week, and I decided to cut out the parts that were enterprise related or sort of enterprise related, so I could use that as an editorial. And so I kind of changed it into a short article just about how Windows Phone has become more suitable for the enterprise. But I do want to write sort of a higher level article because I think people forget. You might have noticed yesterday I posted a picture of that Metro poster that Microsoft had.
Yeah.
When Microsoft first announced Windows Phone 7 Series, by the way, which was the original name of it, and we're talking on and really kind of endlessly in terrible ways about design and how smart the design was and how they wanted to delight people. And there was a certain way that they talked about Windows Phone and the way they presented Windows Phone. And then there was the implementation where everything was like these beautiful scrolling panoramas, which look great, but actually didn't work in real life in the sense that all the third-party stuff never got plugged into them, so they became kind of pointless. Windows Phone has changed a lot since then. Architecturally, from a UX perspective, I mean, it's just completely different.
The devices, I mean, hardware-wise.
Everything. And, well, like I said, you can make a huge article about it. So I will someday still write that. I want to do it this year. This summer. I want to possibly do it. There's a week when I'm in Barcelona that I'm actually going to be off, and I want to prep some articles. Last year when I did this, I did like kind of retrospective articles. It might make sense to make that a retrospective article about Windows Phone. Maybe that's the way I handle that. But so this thing is written. It's a part of it's written. It's pretty long as it is. But then I took a bunch of it. For this other article, I don't want to I can't republish the same text, so I'd have to restructure it. But there's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot more stuff than what I put in that article already. So there's always stuff, the release of products like Surface Pro 3 or Windows Phone 8.1 or Windows 8.1 Update 1 or whatever can trigger a large series of articles over a period of time. They don't have to be super timely, because they're not based around a news thing. And so they're there, and, if it's slow, I'll get to them. And if it's not slow, they're going to have to wait because it's, it's the way it goes.
It's the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Last year, at this week, I think it came out this week. The Chromecast came out last year.
Yeah, a year ago this week. Yeah.
I remember we did the show and we said in a year from now,
Mhm.
we'll have an idea of what this device is going to turn into.
Okay.
A year has passed and nothing has happened.
Well, okay, that's not entirely fair. I mean, so um, I don't know that Google has ever released like up to date sales numbers for it. Are you aware of anything like that? I don't
I
think.
have not seen any. And if they were
Um,
good, we would have seen it.
well, yeah, but so they've expanded Chromecast over the year, right? And so it works on Android devices. It works on iOS, by the way. It works from Chrome, the web browser, and obviously then from Chrome OS and from Chromebook. You can do tab casting now, meaning
You
that
can,
whatever's in
yeah.
the browser tab, that's a new feature they added. It's slow. It's really slow. But I will say, since my initial experience with it, I've put it out on the TV, and it hadn't been out there for a long, long time. And I've started playing with it again and sort of thinking about how it's changed and wondering if it's any better. I mean, the value prop is still the same as ever. Google doesn't have another mainstream way to get its Play services on a TV, which is criminal, you know?
Considering
Uh,
that they had Google TV and now they're going to have, Android TV, which is going
well,
to do
right,
that.
but it's criminal that they have not released apps for Roku, Apple probably would. Well, Apple probably would actually. Apple has their apps on iOS. Why not on Apple TV? I mean, get these apps out on all of the devices on Xbox, whatever, and make that stuff more broadly available. Because Android has over a billion users. It's the most used mobile computing platform on Earth by far. And people are using Google Play. There are people who have Google Play. They have the All Access subscription. They're buying or renting movies on Google Play Video or whatever that's called. And there's no way other than Chromecast,
To get it on the TV.
no, to get it on a TV, which is like it's crazy to me that they haven't fixed that yet. And so for those people, and again, there are a lot of them. It's not ideal, but it works. I mean, it does work.
I'll tell you, I know a lot of people that bought them. I don't know anybody that still uses it.
Well, the only ones who would be heavy users of those Play services. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Actually, here's something you might know something about, because I just don't know enough about this stuff. We had people over the other night, and I wanted to play music, and ideally I wanted it in the living room and in the kitchen, right? So
At the same time.
I figured, yeah, and I don't have like a Sonos or anything like that, and I was just trying to think, is there some way that this would work? And I tried both through Apple and Google. And so on the Google side, you can run like the Google Play Music app on a mobile device, play it through the speaker that's in the kitchen. We have like a little standalone powered speaker thing. And then use maybe the Chromecast feature to put it out in the living room. But the way that the Chromecast works is it's not both. It's one or the other.
I don't think any of them are, though. I don't think Apple
that's
doesn't do that either.
So that's what I wanted to ask, because
Yeah.
I am positive that you used to be able to target multiple
Simultaneous streaming
devices
on both
through
devices.
AirPlay. Yes, I'm positive
Yeah.
you could do that. And maybe it was just because I was using a Google app. I don't know.
Let me think.
I was curious if you knew this, because neither one of them worked. It
So
was out there or in here.
I have had the same problem. Same exact problem. I've had a wireless receiver in my in my dining room, and then I wanted to play the music on the TV as well in the living room. Same exact scenario. I've never been able to do it. I don't think Apple has done it, and I don't think Google has done it. I don't think it's possible.
I'm reasonably sure that it's not possible with Chromecast.
You can, however, I believe some Bluetooth devices, you can connect to multiple Bluetooth devices and stream it on both devices.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that. So
I think that's possible, but I don't
look.
think
It's not a big deal. This is not something. I mean, I've got a friend who spent a lot of money on Sonos equipment for this exact reason.
I know, it's crazy, the Sonos stuff.
But you have people over 5 times a year, or whatever. I mean, 12 times a year, whatever it is. Who cares? I mean, it's not a big deal.
Brian Monroe in the chat says you need Apple TV and you could AirPlay, and it'll let you play on both. But I've done that.
To 2 Apple TVs.
You need an Apple TV.
Because I do have an Apple TV.
AirPlay, and we'll let you do
on the device. Is that what
He
you said?
says that it works. I've never gotten
Okay.
it to
By the
work.
way, that was my expectation because I remember that working. And I'm wondering now if it wasn't because I wasn't using an Apple app, but I was using Google Play Music, and
Yeah.
maybe it just doesn't work that way. I don't know.
It's interesting. We're talking about Apple TV and we talk about Roku.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. Are I know many people, and we're the exception here in our chat room. We have 130 people in our chat, and they're the exception here too. Well, they'll buy multiple devices. They'll have an
Yeah.
Apple TV in the living room, and they'll have a Roku, and maybe they'll get a
Oh,
Fire
right now I've
TV,
got one of everything
a
in
one
there.
of everything.
Yeah.
But you and I cover this stuff.
Right.
I'm noticing more and more people doing this. Like my mother-in-law, she's not techie at all, has a Roku in her living room and an Apple TV in her bedroom. And
Well, but
she's
she doesn't have, does she have multiple, like different devices in one room?
no, not in one
Okay.
room.
No,
No.
I thought that's where you were headed
But
because I don't think anyone should do that if
but
they
I
can
think
avoid.
that's interesting. Like that's fascinating to me. Like why
Yeah.
would you stick with the same thing? Why would you buy multiple stuff? I think we're getting conditioned. Like it's a weird thing where like regular people are being conditioned to not stick to one ecosystem. Like you get the Apple TV, but maybe you want to try a Roku because somebody told you about it and you go and you buy a
Right.
Roku. Like we have
This
multiple
is
devices that do the same exact thing.
this is actually a really difficult area because it changes so much, and there are now a number of choices that are good to excellent depending on what you're using. I mean, it's very easy to say something like, well, if you buy Apple devices, just stick with the Apple stuff, and blah blah blah, and it sounds intelligent and everything. But the truth is that's not actually necessarily really good advice because there are some things in the Apple ecosystem that just aren't available. I mean, I know they bought Beats, but they haven't integrated it into iTunes.
Amazon's not
And
on there.
Amazon is on there actually, but I mean,
On Apple TV?
it on no, not
Oh,
Apple TV.
okay.
I'm sorry, I mean Apple and iOS
Yeah.
devices. So yeah, I mean, you could do the Amazon Music solution. You could do the Google Play Music solution on a device. Use AirPlay to get it on your TV through your Apple TV. Like that would still work, right? And I think the thing that's interesting right now and also difficult from a decision-making perspective is that there are so many choices and the ways that these things integrate are often interesting. I think I gave you that humorous example where I used the Chrome web browser on an iPad to bring up a Microsoft video, which I then transmitted to my HDTV through my Apple TV using AirPlay, and then sat there on the couch with a Windows laptop and followed along with
It's the most insane thing ever. Yeah.
It's a great, but
Yeah.
when you have a little bit of everything, you can kind of mix and match. It's not a solution. It's just like a happenstance. But
But we do it with tablets too. Like we get an iPad and then we run out and we buy the Nexus device when that comes out.
yeah,
It's a weird conditioning
we
thing.
do. No, we do. I mean, my dad had gotten an iPhone, I guess, like first, some number of years ago, and he was going to get a tablet and everything, and I eventually, and I said, Dad, you should really look around. I mean, the choices are much better than they used to be. And he said, well, I'm just gonna get an iPad because the apps are all compatible. And I said, so what's the advantage of that? I don't understand. The kind of notion that like there are a couple of apps that I need to have on both and they have to be exactly the same is kind of silly. I mean, to be honest, you couldn't run Apple's music app on an Android tablet, but you could run Google's music app on both. You could run Amazon's on both. You can run Kindle on any of these devices, including even Windows devices. And so I don't, I think that's kind of, saying I'm just going to get the same thing because it's easier is not, I think we're smart enough to handle different things. I think we're smart enough to make the decisions that are right for us at the given time and all that kind of stuff. But there's so many choices now. It's really kind of hard to know where to go.
There's tons of choices, and we're obviously buying all of them. Like,
yeah, and I
think
spend a
about
lot
that.
of time experimenting with different music services, experimenting with different devices, of course. I have an iPod Touch right now that's all loaded up just with Google stuff. I have an Android device that's all loaded up with just Microsoft stuff. The ability to mix and match these ecosystems now is amazing. There are obviously gaps. Amazon stuff is not on Windows. Apple stuff is not on anything else. Google stuff is not on Windows. Actually, it's Windows where we get screwed the most, and that's kind of an interesting thing
On
because
Windows
it makes
Phone
Windows and Windows Phone,
and
like
Windows
Windows when I say Windows, I mean Windows like modern Windows,
Modern
not
Windows, yeah.
desktop. Because I'm thinking about it from a not just a PC perspective, where obviously I could play Google Play Music on the web and it would be just fine. I don't need to download that music. I'm connected all the time. It's okay. But if I want a tablet or if I want a phone, the decision, one of the decisions people make around that is, well, is the stuff I really want to use there? And, Windows tablets, the answer is like, no, pretty much. Obviously Office is there. But I mean, as far as like all the fun stuff, I mean, a lot of it's not there.
Yeah.
Windows Phone's getting a lot better. Windows Phone's a lot better. There's all kinds of good stuff on Windows Phone, not Google though, and not Amazon except for Kindle and the main Amazon app.
But like we talk about the apps, and I made a list of actually. It's funny how it kind of fell into that. I made a list the other day of all the apps that I use because you hear that all the time. Where
Yeah.
and I'm one of these people too that have said, I like Windows Phone, but it's just their catalog of apps on that thing is not that good. I mean,
Right.
it's much smaller than Android and iOS. And I did a
Okay.
list of all the apps that I use regularly throughout the week.
Mhm.
It's 10 apps.
Yeah.
I use Facebook, I use Twitter, Skype, Instagram, SwiftKey, Swarm, which is Foursquare, Pocket Cast, Snapchat, my Citibank app, PayPal, and TuneIn. That's it.
So, I mean, at least 6 or so of those are on Windows Phone.
Okay.
SwiftKey is the
keyboard
swipe
thing. Yeah.
thing that's on Windows Phone 8.1. Facebook, Twitter, Skype, Instagram, Foursquare are all there. The other ones I don't know.
Pocket Cast is a podcasting app, which could be replaced with something else.
Okay.
Snapchat is on there
I
now.
suspect. Is it on there?
Yeah, there was a beta. Yeah.
Okay.
Citibank,
I'd have to look up.
PayPal.
PayPal is probably not there like the official app, but why do you
Yeah.
need the app?
So why do I need the app? That's a very good question. What do I do with the app? You know what I do? I buy stuff. So I found,
app.
yeah, like I found that a lot of local restaurants accept PayPal, and I could order through the PayPal app. I never have to call them, and their menu's selected, and I just click on the things that I want. And I just order through PayPal.
Right. Well, you'll be happy to hear it's there.
Okay, so I could do that on that too.
So PayPal's there, and then TuneIn Radio. I mean, the one thing I have to say, TuneIn. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So then let's look at this list one more time. It's like what about Citibank? Do we figure out Citibank?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
I'll look up Citibank because if Citibank is there, it's pretty much 100%.
It's 100% of all the applications that I use regularly.
Yeah, and Citibank is not there.
It's not
Citibank India is there though.
That's it. Well, kind of makes sense, right? Emerging markets.
That's weird.
But and then I have like other applications that I didn't put in there. Like Gmail, for example.
Oh yeah.
I didn't put in Gmail. I didn't put in, like something that I use all the time is my Photos app, but I'm not going to add that in because that's the Photos app.
Right. So I think that this actually nicely highlights the problem with Windows Phone, right? So as it turns out, most of your apps are there.
Yeah.
Right. And so someone on the outside would say, well, I mean, what's the problem? I mean, look, it's all there, Well, the problem is that other stuff too. And the problem is, it's not exactly what you want. And, I'm not trying to make a theoretical stand. I just want to use my phone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. So now the question should be, how many of these apps are in Windows in the, the new UI in their store?
Very few of them.
Probably. I mean, I would doubt. I think TuneIn's
First three
in
are there. I mean, you just mean modern Windows.
Modern Windows.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I would guess half.
Yeah.
At best.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's where the problem. I mean, when I mean, they're going to fix this obviously, but if I'm picking up a tablet, if I'm picking up a Windows 8 tablet and I'm like, oh, let me install, this app. I'm going to go through the catalog and I'm not going to see all those things there. I'm going to see third-party applications. I'm sure there's an Instagram third-party app, but most of them are not going to exist.
Right.
You're
going to be.
But I wonder what other people
disappointed.
use. Like, what do you use that's not on this list, Paul? Like, what is
What
there?
do I use?
Yeah, like,
On
is
what?
there an app that you use other than the Microsoft apps, obviously, that I didn't put on this list? Like, is there something that you
phone?
need to have on your phone?
Let me look.
Untapped, maybe Untapped
Well, yeah, okay. Untapped is on every platform.
is on every platform. Yeah.
Audible is on every platform. Kindle is on every platform. I use a variety of news apps. That doesn't really matter. Weather is everywhere, obviously. I use the Here navigation apps because I'm on Windows Phone, but you have Google Maps. It's great.
Yeah.
I use Xbox Music and podcasts and videos, because I'm on Windows. That stuff doesn't
I
matter.
mean, this misconception that like apps aren't there does not really
No,
exist.
apps are there. That's not really the problem. The problem is that one app won't be there that you really
That
need.
one app that's make or
I
break.
mean, yeah.
How
We
dare
have.
you not have Snapchat?
Yeah, I don't personally have Snapchat, but Facebook and Twitter I use regularly.
And that's
No,
what
I mean
most
that's
people are
most of it.
doing. I mean, look
Yeah.
at people's habits. Uh, my
I take
wife is using
pictures.
Viber because she has a friend that's in Europe right now. So she's been doing Viber to chat with her. And I'm
Yep.
thinking she was asking me like, "Oh, can I download Viber?" I'm like, "You have Skype. Just use Skype." She goes, "No, I want Viber." And I'm thinking Windows Phone has this. Everybody has it, but like if her phone didn't have it, that would have been the whole like, "Oh god, the one thing that I need, it's not available." But I think pretty much everything is there. Like all these apps exist now.
Well, yes, but this is like the conversations they used to have on the Mac. It's the same problem. We have single digit market share that's going nowhere fast, and you have to kind of ask yourself why. And so I mentioned earlier on how I had this article I was writing about how much Windows Phone has changed. I mean, a lot of those changes are due to the fact that they need to just address the fact that people aren't, picking this thing up in massive numbers, and so they have all these innovations they built into it, and if they don't, attract users, what's the point? And so, you know, they've made those concessions, and so we'll see what happens. But I don't know how you fix it. I mean, people are very used to using iPhones and Android phones and whatever tablet they prefer, and Windows is like that third thing, but people don't often think to the third thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've searched the App Store and I did a comparison of everything that I have on my I did it like a month ago that I have on my Android phone and that I have on my iPad and I searched in Windows Phone and everything was there. Everything that
Yeah.
I personally use. So
Everything I personally use is literally there because
is
I use
yeah.
Windows Phone.
So this whole thing where like, oh man, this isn't there, and I
Yeah.
was one of these people that critiqued it because Instagram wasn't there and Snapchat wasn't there, and a lot of these apps did not exist on the platform. But now I think they've gotten a lot better at developing these applications because they're realizing the success of these lower end Nokia devices.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they got to sell the services to people. They
Sure.
can't cut a percentage out.
But there are a couple of critical apps don't show up, and it just becomes a non-starter for some people. You mentioned Gmail, for example. If you're one of the millions and millions of people that use Gmail and you rely on that app, and you know how great it is on Android and iOS, blech, it's just not there. It's not available on Windows Phone.
See, Weary in our chat room says, "I've been waiting for Flipboard. It's been a year." So that's one of those big apps
Is
that
that
does
right?
not exist.
Flipboard's on. Is that still not on there?
I
Maybe
don't
it's
think it
just
is.
on maybe it's just on Windows. I thought it was there, but let me see. But there's a Flipboard beta. Is that not it? Let me
Well,
just
that
make sure
might
it's
be
right.
it.
Oh no, that's not them. That's
It's a
a
third party.
fake Flipboard app.
Yeah.
That's a fake.
See, that's
fake,
not one app that you want. It's not on
Yeah.
there. It really comes down to
Yeah,
that.
right. That's true.
Ha-
I believe
have-
they promised one.
I guess it's the sense of urgency that we need to get this app in the store because
Yeah.
nobody's
Oh,
using it. I used to use Flipboard a lot, but I'm not really using it that much anymore because I'm not using my iPad that much. And that's another thing, Paul. I tend not to use my tablet as much as I used to, like a year ago.
You're not the only one.
Like right now, I
That's
use
the
it.
trend.
This is so backwards. I'm using it to monitor IRC.
Right.
It's become like my
It's
chat.
a second screen, is what it is.
That's essentially what I'm using it for. But I wonder if my habits of how I'm using this device is representing what other people are doing. Like the people use this
Well-
for a while, and then now all of a sudden they're like, just sitting here.
Yeah, no, what most people, when Apple introduced the iPad, remember they said, is there room for a third device? And for a while it seemed like, yeah, there is. And I maybe, for some people, obviously there is, but a lot of people can get work done on a tablet. And for that person, they don't need a laptop or something. They just have the tablet and a phone. But a lot of people need a laptop, and they'll have a phone in a laptop, and the phone might be a big phone, like a big Android phone, or maybe in 6 months they'll have a big iPhone, whatever. But that is enough. My wife had a dedicated Kindle device. I mean, still does. She just doesn't use it. She reads everything on her phablet, and she reads the paper on the phablet in the morning. She reads ebooks on the phablet. She plays the one game she plays at Word with Friends or whatever the heck it is on that same phone. And that's what she does. She doesn't need a tablet. So she uses a laptop for work. She uses the phone, and I kind of find myself doing the same. The only difference is I like the slightly bigger screen size of a mini tablet for reading, but I don't want to carry around that like a huge phone. So I still use I still use 3, but I don't know. I'm kind of in the industry in a way. So in some ways it makes sense for me to move from device to device and keep, experiencing these things.
I use it as a gaming platform. Like my iPad is just how I play games before bed. And most of the time I'm playing like a tower defense game. And it seems like I've played all the good games on this thing. And now it's like,
Sure.
It's, everything.
It is a lot of the same stuff over and over again.
It is. It's a lot of the Farmville style games. It's a lot of the,
God forbid anyone has a good idea. You're going to see a million of them, Angry Bird games, the constant motion games, whatever. It's just God help you if you have a hit. It's just the same thing over and over.
Let me see what I got on here. I'm gonna look on my iPad. So I have let's see, and because I have a 16 gig one, I have no space for anything anymore.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
I had to wipe out the one game I was playing just so I could put a movie on there.
I have Mini Gore 2. And that by the way, that's an awesome game.
Mini Gore is an oldie. That's like back to the beginning, right? One of the early ones.
Yeah. Mini Gore 2 is actually much better. I have Mega Jump 2.
Okay.
I have some soccer game called Pixel Cup. 100 Cups, 100 Balls is another app that I have. Baseball 13, Contra HD, Plants vs. Zombie 2, Home Run HD, Baseball Slam. I guess I was on a baseball kick, and then I had to delete everything else because I loaded it up with a bunch of MP3s, and that was it. Like I went away and I put like 5 MP3s on this thing, and it told me that I have no more storage. So I really don't have much, but like I was playing like tower defense games for a while.
Yeah.
And I played all the good ones, and the rest are really crappy. Majority of these games on here, like you talk about the library, like Android has the same thing. Most of these games are awful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Like look on the top 10. Like let me actually look what's in the top 10 apps.
Of which platform?
iOS. Let me go here. I don't even know how to get to the app store. There we go. Let's go to top 10.
So you can do that on your device. I'm trying to find this on the web, and it's like.
So, Minecraft. So under paid, right? Minecraft Pocket Edition.
Yeah.
Paw Rescue Run HD. So like you're a dog and you're running around. Red Ball 4. I've never heard of this game. Modern Combat Blackout.
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, available on Windows Phone.
Okay.
And on Windows, you can play it with an Xbox controller.
So a lot of Minecraft games, like the survival game, Hide and Seek, Buddy Man. The game called Buddy Man looks awful. SpongeBob, which is like a Farmville. Plants vs. Zombies, still in the top 10. Wipeout, Geometry Dash. These are the worst games ever. And then under free gets even worse. It's like Princess Little Helper, Play and Care the Palace, Barbie Fashion Design, Plane Fire and Rescue, the Kim Kardashian Hollywood game.
Oh no!
Number 5.
Is the Kardashian game the one where they try to get jobs but they're not qualified for any jobs?
No, that's real life. That's real life. Join Kim Kardashian on the red carpet. Adventure in Kim Kardashian Hollywood. Create your own aspiring celebrity and rise to fame and fortune with a sex tape.
That's pathetic. That is pathetic.
Yeah. I guess you have to put out a sex tape to become popular and dead behind the eyes. Well, look at this. In the updated version, you could fly to Paris. New quest while you join Kim in Paris to pursue her fashion and modeling opportunities. Number 5, the most popular app. This says a lot about this country, Paul.
It says a lot about a lot
Number
of things.
6, Skype. 6 is Skype. Bubble
Number
Witch.
6 is Skype.
Yeah. Bubble
Okay.
Witch. Bubble
Right
Witch
behind the
2.
Kardashians.
Yeah.
We'll get them yet.
Number 8 is YouTube. Number 9 is Netflix. And number 10 is Microsoft Word. More people are downloading the Kardashians than Microsoft Word for the iPad.
That makes me want to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. It says a lot.
Andrew, how is it that we have not covered the biggest news story of today?
And that is?
That Apple has updated the 13-inch non-Retina MacBook Pro
Holy
and
moly.
lowered the price.
Yeah, that actually is big. That is a big story.
I think you, of all people, will understand why this is such a big story.
Because Apple does not lower prices.
Actually, well, sometimes they do.
Or upgrade stuff.
They're still selling a MacBook Pro that has like a 1200 or 1280 by 800 display, I think.
1280 by 800. That's exactly what the display is.
I can't find. They don't talk about this product on their website.
No, I think they did up the display.
It's like they're embarrassed. By
No,
this.
it's 12. Well, mine is 1280 by 800, but the Mac, the actually, wait a minute. Did they update the screen? I don't think they did. They updated the screen on the air.
1280 by 800. You can still buy this computer.
Same exact thing that I have.
It's
yeah.
Why would? Well, I guess because you need the space, the hard drive space. I'm trying to imagine why they would even make this thing. Wow. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
And I'm using a 2011 because they have not.
If a MacBook Air is just too awesome for you and you have to run Mac OS 10, this much bigger, thicker, and less powerful computers are a bit less interesting.
Did you get the Yosemite beta?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I have access to it.
So I installed it. I have it on my MacBook. MacBook
I don't
Pro.
really care about it personally.
It's just, first of all, a lot of things are missing. So it's not like, oh my God, this thing has this feature that we need. It's just prettier.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Everything is a little flatter. The Finder is a lot nicer looking. It's a little bit more intuitive. Other than that, it's the same exact thing. Messages is, they changed the look of messages a little bit. It's essentially the same exact thing. Notifications, which I never use, is different. Everything is transparent. But like things like the photo app, which they made a huge deal about during the Apple conference, is not in this. You can't get the photo app because that's a separate application.
Right.
iTunes, they removed that sidebar, which I loved. You don't have that anymore.
They did say the photo app was coming later in the year.
Yeah, I think they said later in the year.
I think they did.
iTunes is, they redid iTunes, which I'm not crazy about. It's okay. I mean, it's a cosmetic change. There's nothing great about it. I mean, it's totally stable if you want to run it, but just they made it a little prettier. And it got me thinking. A lot of our viewers, including me, have been screaming about the start button being gone in Windows and the start menu being gone. But when people make the switch to, let's say, a Mac, I've never heard anyone complain and say, I really like the Mac, but that start menu, man. I need the start menu. I can't do this anymore. And it all comes down to the fact that we had it and they took it away from us, and now we're, screaming for it. And you know who brought this up? Darren tweeted me this on Twitter. And he was like, oh, do people miss, the start menu? And I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? I've never heard anyone complain about leaving Windows for OS 10.
Right.
Like, you never hear that. And it really comes down to just you want what you want.
I think it comes down to the fact that Windows users are a bunch of complaining whiners.
It could be. I mean, I recently installed a Classic Shell on someone's laptop, a relative's laptop.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is Windows. Like, it's so easy. It's here. I don't know. Do you think it's going to make a difference for Windows 9? Do you think people are going to...
No, I do not.
Like, you don't think it's going to be that...
No, what it's going to do is it's going to appease some people, but the truth is you're still going to see the complaints from people who are going to say, well, the start menu is not the the Windows 7 start menu. I want the Windows 7 start menu. I don't want a new start menu.
Do you really think that's going to happen? You think people are going to say
no,
that?
it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed.
Because I mean, like, it's the
think
closest thing ever. It's
no, don't get me wrong. I think they're smart to do this. They should have done it from day one. Whatever, they're going to appease these people, but they're never going to please everybody, and that's the problem. They're obviously not going back to the Windows 7 style for anything. But no, there'll always be something to complain about. The start menu will be full of tiles, and that will drive people insane. And the problem is that when people complain about things, and this is true about the Xbox One. Remember all the craziness after E3 last year, Windows 8. You're not going to convince them. You're not going to do anything that makes them happy. There's not going to be some point where they say, okay, you finally got it. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Like, that doesn't happen. Obviously, in individual cases, it can happen. But overall, that's not going to happen. And, that's just the way it is. I mean, so I think it's a positive development that they're listening to people. I think it's the right thing to do, kind of, just from a user experience standpoint, whatever. But Windows is still on a downward trajectory. There's nothing they can really do about that.
And that's going to happen. It's just the given nature of how technology is evolving.
But we'll see. We'll see where Windows settles, where PCs settle.
You think this is going to impact people leaving Windows? And it's going to slow it down?
No, I don't think it. No, nothing, not like that. What I mean is, people are already abandoning Windows, not because they hate Windows or whatever, because things change. I mean, we have simpler devices now.
Yeah.
And Windows 9 is not going to fix that.
I know so many people that do not have a laptop or desktop.
Yeah.
It baffles me.
Right. So for those of us who do, this will be good, but for most people, this won't change anything. That's my expectation. So we'll see.
I think we're going to get that initial, oh, wow, the start menu's here. Okay. Like, I think people like me and a lot of our viewers that have not gone to Windows 8 will go to Windows 9 or whatever they call it because of this, because it's more for desktop. The desktop is back. They're not forgetting about you. Where I'll do the upgrade for sure. But is this going to impact, the guy that got Windows 8 on his laptop that doesn't like Windows 8? I don't think he's even going to understand that there's a difference.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I'm curious about this because
it's fair to say that a lot of people who were used to Windows, rebelled against Windows 8. And so hopefully this addresses that. Honestly, I think there's still going to be enough change there that those people are still going to be confused. But that doesn't solve the primary problem,
I mean, Windows 8 was not
tablets address a need.
Windows 8 was not welcomed well. I mean, that's a given. A lot of people were not happy with Windows 8. But
no, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I mean, in other words,
did it impact sales?
For years, we go back 10 years now, people are always complaining, Microsoft really lags behind on the desktop. They're not doing these things that Apple is doing. They're not doing hardware accelerated graphics. They're not doing, glass effects and, the translucency that comes along with that. They're not taking advantage of the hardware in the machine. They're not moving quickly enough. Then they released Windows Vista, which addressed every single one of those needs. And everyone was like, whoa, hold on. This thing runs like crap on my computer. What's going on here? This is Microsoft can never please anyone. It's just the way it works.
Is it Microsoft or is it the fact that they control 90-something% of the market and it's very difficult to please?
Both of those things.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know, because Apple users seem pretty happy with everything Apple does.
That's very good. Yeah, that's.
I don't see any groundswell of people rebelling against Android. I mean, those two things have huge audiences.
Even when it is shit, like Apple, the iLife suite is garbage. Let me just tell. GarageBand is the only thing in that thing that's decent.
Apple users will blissfully rewrite history.
iPhoto
and complain and say later, "Oh, this was the plan all along. They were always going to fix it. This was fine. I knew it would be okay."
iPhoto's total junk.
Yeah,
they have not updated this thing since 2011.
Sure. Well, now they're not going to.
Now they're not going to because they're killing it. But this thing is bloated. It's atrocious to run. It crashes. GarageBand is good. I mean, I've used GarageBand. I think GarageBand is useful for anybody that's starting out in any kind of podcasting or anything with music and they need to do simple editing. I think it's great out. But what was the other thing that they had? The web maker? You used to make websites. I don't even know what it's called. That thing was awful.
Was it called iWeb?
iWeb. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I
Who
don't remember.
cares? I don't know.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
Apple has
iDVD.
notoriously released software that is awful. And now, like
Sure.
years after, I've been talking about iPhoto being awful for years, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? It's so good." And now it's like, yeah, you know what? It's
You know what though?
awful.
All right,
It's
but
it's
here's the
disgusting.
difference. Here's the difference. I would complain about iTunes on Windows for years and years and years, and then people would come to me and they'd say, "Paul, iTunes is terrible on the Mac too." So
It's not great.
don't.
It's better.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
this is the feedback I would get, and so okay, that's interesting. But you know what? You've never heard from people on a Mac. You've never heard about mass revolt against iTunes. I'm never using this piece of crap again. Meanwhile, over on Windows, we've got this Xbox Music thing that is so horrible on Windows Phone. People are dropping the platform completely. It's like one bad release of the software, and they're like, "I'm done. I can't use
Yeah.
this anymore. I give up." Microsoft sucks. They have no idea what they're doing, and there's this weird defeatist kind of attitude to everything on the Windows side that is unique to Microsoft.
Do you know why it's
I
unique?
don't know.
Because
Maybe
I think I think it's unique because you have options. You have all these different options to use.
You
all
have
this
plenty of
different-
options on
on the Mac.
iOS,
Well,
on anything.
well, let's
I
say on the
mean,
Mac, right? Like, let's say I hate iTunes. What am I going to use?
if you're on well, first of all, hold on a second. So if we're just talking about music,
Yeah.
you can use anything you want because if you're on a Mac, you're connected to the internet and you can use anything. You could use Amazon, you could use Google, it would work fine.
Yeah, but I
Now,
think
if
it's
you want to take music,
conditioning.
hold on. If you want to take music offline, you're doing that on a device. Why would you have music on a Mac? You have a phone, you have an iPod. Put the music on the thing that's next to you with the headphones. And all of those services are on those devices. All of them. Every service ever made. Spotify, Beats, Google, Rhapsody.
All of them are there. Yeah. Spotify.
Xbox Music
Yeah.
is on there for crying out loud. You could use that. They all
Yeah.
work. All of them.
My
You know?
theory is that for many years, if you were a Mac user, if you're a long-term Mac user, you didn't have too many options, so you stuck with what you had. And
That's true. Yeah.
But on Windows, you've always had a variety of software, and they've been very competitive with each other. But so
Yeah.
this thing where like you have to use a Microsoft product never existed. Like Microsoft didn't have, like actually no, Microsoft had Windows Media Player, and everybody hated it, and how much it sucked.
Yeah.
So you use Winamp. I think it's a different mentality. I think the user base is very quick on the PC side to say, this sucks, I don't want to use it, Microsoft
but-
sucks, everything is bad.
The truth is, on Windows Phone, we have access to all of those services
Yeah.
too. We don't have Google, but we have Spotify, we have Pandora, we have Beats, we have Xbox Music. Obviously, we have Rhapsody. We have all of those things. We have choice. The choice is there. I mean, I actually think the Xbox Music app on Windows is fine, like the Windows PC tablet version. There's a web version, which is, by the way, is also pretty great. But my God, like this Windows Phone thing hits. And by the way, it's on Windows Phone 8.1, which is in use on approximately, I think the figure was 7% of Windows phones.
very
which
small.
is 7% of 4% of everyone that uses a smartphone. So whatever that is, some teeny 0.00 percentage of whatever. And my God, the complaining is, is epic. And by the way, the app is absolutely a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But the thing that I would defend Xbox Music to would be that the platform is solid and it works great everywhere else. So if it's a little slow on Windows Phone, which is charitable, put up with it because they're going to fix it, and they are going to fix it. But it's amazing like how much people complain about it.
Well, and then you have something like the Zune software, right, for Windows.
No, not anymore.
Well, not anymore, but you had it, and I thought this thing was great. I thought it was better.
great.
It was better than iTunes. You had the catalog of MP3s. You had your music on there. I thought it was a great piece of software, and in my opinion, it should have been standard on Windows. But I've never heard anyone else other than you and I say this was a really good piece of software.
Zune has its adherents as well, and obviously, a lot of the design ideas from Zune went into the Zune devices and then went into Windows Phone. And in along to Xbox Music and all that kind of stuff too. The thing I keep trying to tell people these days, because I do in my world, I hear a lot of complaining from people who say Xbox Music sucks. Why can't we go back to Zune? They should have done that, blah, blah, blah. And, Zune was software designed for a different era. Zune was your PC is the center of your universe, and you store everything on this PC and you sync it out to devices. Xbox Music is a modern service where the cloud is the center of everything. Your collection is in the cloud, and you stream to your devices or sync to your devices if you want to download and use it offline. Zune was an app that ran on PC. It was a completely non-standard app. Xbox Music is a service that has mobile apps that run on Windows Phone, Android, iOS, the web. It's everywhere, and it's really good on most of those platforms. It's on Xbox 360 and Xbox One too, by the way.
But I mean, even with Zune though, people didn't understand that you could run this without having. Like, I didn't have a Zune. I never had a Zune, but I ran the software because it was good. It was,
and the Zune devices were pretty good too.
And the Zune devices were great. Yeah,
especially the Zune HD.
Paul, question for you. Question.
Okay. Yes. Sir.
Windows Media Player. Why has that thing not been overhauled ever?
Well, they're not going to update that. That's legacy software. So why is it still there?
Why is it still there? Yeah.
For backwards compatibility, because you need something on the desktop that can play media files, not because Microsoft wants to make sure everyone has like a great movie experience, but because, although, by the way, people do that. They even manage music in this thing. You may get it as an attachment from work. I actually made a joke about this on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. My contention is that Windows Media Player exists today only so I can play voicemails that arrive in my Outlook inbox.
That's so funny.
Because when you click on that file, whatever that thing is, it's probably like a WAV file or something.
Yeah.
It's still associated with Windows Media Player.
I have not used Media Player in years, but craziness. I didn't think anybody still uses it, but all of our...
you'll definitely... There's someone out there.
Oh, no. Paul, it's so big still. It baffles me. I get a little report at the end of the month because we have a live audio stream. And it tells me at the end of the month what platform had the most listeners, longest period, blah, 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 blah. So obviously you have Stitcher on there, you have TuneIn, you have iTunes Radio, and the number one spot, it's not the web, it's nothing mobile, it's Windows Media Player.
Really?
Windows Media Player, because they have a directory of radio stations. And I mean, it's like 60% of our listeners come from Windows Media Player. And all I'm thinking is, who are these people? Because we have a technical audience. Who are these people that are listening in Windows Media Player? That it's astonishing to me. The only other thing I could think of is that whatever protocol they use, another application maybe uses it. Like there's a couple, like maybe we're on Windows Phone and everything that's on Windows Phone is being registered as Windows Media Player because it's calculating it weird. But I don't even think that's a thing. Like you see all this list and it's Windows Media Player.
That's amazing.
I mean,
it's a crazy application, and like Zoom too. I mean,
somebody in our chat room goes, I go, who's listening? Goes lunatics.
Yeah. But I mean, it is from such another era. Windows Media Player in its current form dates back to 2000. It was part of Windows Me. This kind of multifunction. Before that, Windows Media Player was a little teeny utility application.
Where you played WAV files and you hit record and you can record your audio.
This became like a music manager application, right? That did, would manage videos as well as music, but also like pictures and stuff. It was very convoluted. And it was part of a design thing that Microsoft had going as part of Windows Me, which never really happened. It was like an activity center, and this was like an activity center for media. It was like a one-stop shop. You can burn CDs with this thing. You can sync with mobile devices. You can connect with Play2 to remote media players in your house. Yeah. And like, who has this stuff? Nobody really. But, this was we tried. This is what we tried to do.
I've always been fascinated. Like even on the Mac, I was going through like the applications, like the stock applications that it comes with. Actually, let me look here. It was kind of strange how they have not updated a lot of things. Like, first of all, who's using Photo Booth? Which I kind of understand, but they update that. But like they have like a DVD player. Nobody uses this thing. But they still have, and it's the same DVD player that they've had for the last 10 years. Like it's just like these legacy applications that nobody really cares about, nobody uses. But on the Microsoft side, they had a chance with Media Player. Mm-hmm. And it just stayed for 10, 14
Well,
years now.
Media Center was very much, remember, it was a desktop application, right?
Yeah,
So,
Media Center too. Yeah.
and Media Center was for the living room, and you would typically interact with it with a remote. It was kind of a simple front end. And I always liked that kind of thing, and of course I loved Media Center for many years. Um, but it's Windows. They can never escape their past, whether it's like modern apps today or that Media Center application from a decade ago now, where you couldn't edit metadata in the app. And a lot of those kind of people really wanted to do that. So you'd have to go down to Windows Media Player, or you get a weird error message from the operating system that would pop up in a window on top of Media Center and ruin the experience. It's just nothing you can, I don't know. When you're starting from a place of complexity, I mean, you can put a veneer of simplicity on it all you want. But by the way, that was Windows Mobile 6.5. Remember the front end to that was gorgeous. They had a great lock screen.
But it was the same crap.
Still cannot do in Windows Phone, which is amazing. Like
what can't you do?
Different apps.
Oh yeah.
So you would have a list of apps. So it would say you got a phone call from Bob, you got a text message from Karen, you got a whatever email from this person. Where you swiped, you'd unlock, and then it would go right to that app. So if you wanted to go right to the phone app, you could swipe on the phone little icon thing, and it was such a great idea. But the problem with that release, and then the home screen was beautiful too. But once you got below that, it was Windows Mobile dating back to 1999.
Yeah.
And it was like, designed for a stylus, not for your finger. You couldn't touch anything. It was garbage.
By the way, one of the best phones I ever owned was a Windows Mobile phone. The HTC Touch Pro.
Oh, no. What?
HTC Touch Pro was the best phone. One of the best phones I ever owned. The keyboard on that thing was phenomenal.
So many Pocket PC / whatever, Windows Mobile, whatever the various names are. I've owned so many of these things. And they were marked by styluses, and I remember there was a Dell Axum that had like a 640 by 40 display or whatever that was considered amazing. And the HP / compact devices that had the sleds you could put in the back with the wireless cards and compact flash expansion and all this kind of crazy stuff. And it was basically just an embedded version of Windows.
The Moto Q9.
Yeah, the Moto Q.
Yeah, and Palm, had their versions of it, which were pretty nice devices, but it's just such a different time. In the last 10 years, we've kind of totally.
Did I tell you about my last Windows Mobile meeting? Did I tell you this story?
No.
This is actually pretty funny. I met with these guys, Windows Mobile at the time, and they all had that Palm device, and it was really expensive. You could only buy it unlocked, and it was $550.
The last one.
The last one.
Yeah.
It was Treo something. Beautiful for the day. It was a beautiful device.
I think the Trio Pro.
The iPhone had come out, and the iPhone had been out for a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. By this time, I had one. I was in the meeting with my iPhone because, of course, when the iPhone came out, I was like, Windows Mobile sucks. We're done with that. And God, these guys were going on and on and on. 6.5 and blah, 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 and this Palm device. And, and then this woman said, and I have these moments in meetings where I kind of zone out because they start talking marketing baloney. And if you're paying attention and you're like a PR person, you can tell how engaged I am by how much I type. And so when my typing drifts off, that means I'm starting to get nervous about what they're saying, or I don't like it or whatever. So this woman said, I said, yeah, but what are you going to do about the iPhone? And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, they're eating your lunch. You're getting killed. The iPhone is awesome. You made this thing that's terrible. I don't understand how you're going to compete with them. And she said, the iPhone validates the notion we always had, which was that if someone just made a consumer-friendly touch device, that people would flock to it.
Yeah.
And I stopped typing, and I kind of just looked at her, and I was like, do you even hear the words that are coming out of your mouth?
What are you saying? Yeah.
Because if you knew that, why didn't you make it? Like they were trying to take credit for it. Like they had this, they were like, yeah, we knew this was going to happen. This was inevitable.
This has been our plan all along.
Yeah. So it wasn't very long after that meeting that they, and I had nothing to do with this. I'm not.
By the way,
just coincidentally,
6.5 was not awful. It was just too late.
No, the Surface. In other words, 6.5 was what you could do on top of the old Windows.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is the problem that Microsoft has right now with Windows 8, because the new thing is new on top of the old Windows. And what they're trying to do next to it is like a Windows RT, Windows Phone thing where it's like, can we get rid of the old stuff? But what they're finding is they have a huge audience, and those guys are not happy. And now they have to sort
Yeah.
of recalibrate. And Windows is in this kind of weird spot. It's hard to make something complex something simple, right? Once it's complex and it does all this stuff, people have expectations. Remember when the Zune software first came out, people said, but you can't do this, you can't do that. It doesn't, it didn't, I don't remember the details anymore. I'm going to get this wrong, but the first version didn't burn CDs or something, or it didn't let you rip, it probably let you rip CDs.
Yeah.
I don't know what it did, but it didn't do everything that Windows Media Player did, and people complained. Xbox Music, same thing. It doesn't do everything that Zune did. People complain. It's like, guys, you can, you can either build on complexity or you can start off simpler. And if you start off simpler, you're going to lose stuff. That's how it works.
I was a big fan of that honeycomb UI in 6.5.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it like a honeycomb?
Yep. That was one of the. Yeah. I think it was like a theme.
Yeah, I had it, and I always said I wish this thing came out like 5 years earlier, because it would have been really rad.
Yeah. They were working on a Windows Mobile, Windows Mobile 7, they would have called it. That was like, I think it was called Phaeton or something. And
did you ever see
it? It was, no, I've just seen pictures of it. I mean, but it was going to be one of those things where they, it was still going to be something pretty on top of the old thing. And to their credit, after doing 6.5, they just said, look, we can't, this isn't going to work.
Oh, I remember this.
Can't keep doing this.
Yeah, now I remember this one.
What's that?
Yeah, the Windows Mobile 7 UI. Now I remember this one.
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, is it no Phaeton? Phaeton's a Volkswagen. Photon, maybe.
Photon, yeah, Photon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. It was too little, too late. Really, it was the end.
Oh, it just would have been.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you look at the UI, what you see in there are some kind of gel cappy looking Windows Media Player type elements.
That's exactly
right?
what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was like the design aesthetic of the time.
This thing that sucks on Windows? Let's just put it on a phone. Just make it look like that. Everything is jelly and blue. Yeah, I remember that.
It was, that was just for a couple of years. That was what everything looked like that they made,
Yeah. Huh. All right, Paul, let's wrap it up. Hey guys, if you want to help us out, you want to support the show, you could support us by funding our Patreon campaign. We're almost at our goal, and we have a couple days left. Let's see what we're at right now. If you go to patreon.com/whatthetech, what the tech, we are at $483. I think we just need $15 more for the month to reach our $500 goal for this month. If we hit the $500 goal, we'll be doing a bonus monthly live call-in show where you guys call in and we chit-chat, and you can tell me I suck and do your Baba Booey prank phone calls. Because we're big fans of that. Patreon.com/whatthetech. You could fund the project there. We do a bonus show also. Right after this, we're going to be doing our bonus show. I think we're going to be talking more about things that sucked.
Things that sucked.
I
have a big list of that.
Like software in the 90s. Late 90s, early 2000s. Will you take a penny? You know what, Bobby? If they allow you to fund me a penny, I will take a penny.
I'll tell you about the time I literally broke down crying trying to put a CD-ROM drive into my PC.
What is it? It was like the ribbon cable one?
Oh, it was all these pinouts, and you had to do the pins exactly right.
Oh yeah, the master and the slave. Yeah,
Try troubleshooting that piece of crap.
Which I think that's what we're going to talk about on a bonus show. I think stuff like that.
Terrible.
It's really interesting to me because I've done all this. Patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us there. Also, if you want to support us without giving us anything, you could do that by using our Amazon affiliate link. Every time you purchase something on Amazon, we get a tiny little credit. You could go to gfq.co/Amazon. That's gfq.co/Amazon or gfqnetwork.com/contribute and bookmark it. So every time you buy something on Amazon, we get a tiny little credit. WinSuperside.com, all things Paul Thurrott. You can follow him on Twitter at Thurrott. Windows Weekly is on tomorrow with Mary Jo Foley and Leah Laporte every Wednesday at 2 p.m. East. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian. And that's it, guys. We're done for today. It was a fun show. It was a fun show. We'll see you all next week on What the Tech.